Pisces Sun and Pisces Rising, welcome here. This year you are first. I'm releasing your video first for 2026 because just because you are the 12th sign of the zodiac, it doesn't mean that you have to wait all the way until the other videos are made. So this is a general forecast for all Pisces Suns and all Pisces Rising. Because of that, please take only that which is helpful and useful to you and apply it to your life. I cannot cover everything, and of course there are 29 degrees of Pisces, so you need to adapt a little bit depending on whether you early, middle or late Pisces. And you also need to apply this according to your age. If you're in your 20s or 30s, the planetary energies will have a different impact to if you're in your 50s, 60s or 70s or older. So please apply, be sensible, be sensitive, which you are. When I give a date in this forecast, take a day on either side. It depends on your time zone. So let's dive in with an overview and then we'll go month by month. 2026 begins with Jupiter still in the sign of Cancer, and of course this is a water sign. You're a water sign, so you're feeling good, and you've been feeling pretty upbeat since Jupiter moved into Cancer in June, July of 2025, bringing blessings, activating good things for your children if you have any. If you don't, it might have brought a new lover in, new creative projects. Simply there's a flow of abundance which seems to permeate everything in your life. And you can enjoy this until July of 2026. And then Jupiter is going to move into Leo, which will have a more fiery energy for you. And you'll need to work with Jupiter in a different way. Possibly more giving of your time to other people or getting your daily routine a little bit more energized. What else do we need to look at for 2026? Saturn, of course. Saturn you have had in your sign from 2023. Major changes. You've stepped up. You've taken responsibility. You've made a big leap and a big shift. And you experienced a break from Saturn during the second part of 2025 when it moved into Aries. Then it slipped back into Pisces, and it's going to be there when 2026 begins, but only for a short time until the middle of February. So you need to finish off loose ends. If there's anything outstanding, anything from 2023, 2024 or 2025, please get that behind you in the first 6 weeks or so of 2026. And then Saturn will move firmly into Aries and be there until May of 2028. So you have a good chunk of time where Saturn will help you to restructure finances. If you're older, it's going to insist that you start to get serious about retirement, put money away, and possibly buy that piece of property eventually. And the interesting thing about Saturn in Aries is that it's going to be joined by Neptune, who will be staying in Aries until 2039. And we're going to have one of the most important astrological events of the year, the Saturn-Neptune conjunction, which is when Saturn, this planet of structure and responsibility and karma, is going to come together with Neptune, this planet of ideals, spirituality, altruism and illusion. And they're going to join, and that will be around February the 20th of 2026. Important for the world, but important for you, because it's happening in a place of your chart, your solar house, which is going to allow you to use that money or put that money aside to fulfill some dream that you've had for a long time. Maybe you've always wanted to own a home, an apartment, whatever the case, and it's going to become possible now that Saturn is moving through this place, and you are going to have Uranus enter into your place of the home. So there's a potential for moving. Saturn and Neptune in this place for you, Pisces, is also going to allow you to let go of things that have not really been working for a long time, and to put into place structures that are much more worthy of the person that you are now, the person that you've become. So there may be some letting go, but it's all for a good cause, because you're feeling so much more confident now than many years ago, and things seem to be getting on track. What about Uranus moving out of your communication house, your neighbor's house, your sibling's house, and into that place of energy, the home, the roots, one of the parents, and so on, bringing change and stirring things up? Some of you may move back to a country that you lived in long ago. Maybe you're going to visit a place that you never dreamed you would be visiting, and now you find yourself suddenly moving there, meeting someone and settling down. The other opportunity with Uranus here is that it's been already dipping its toes in since 2025. So I'd like you to consider, if you haven't watched the forecast from last year, that Uranus was in 2025 for quite a long chunk of time in the second part of the year. So you might have been making plans to move at that time, even if it's simply in the same neighborhood, but you're moving home, or someone might have come into your home, or someone might have left the family, disappeared suddenly, unexpectedly, and you're still trying to find your way around the new family structure. Whatever the case, this energy from Uranus, which is always a planet which brings unexpected happenings, can also be impacting your work. And you're going to feel that strongly from the end of April 2026, when Uranus moves firmly into Gemini, and it will be there until 2033. So it's an approximately 7-year cycle. Changes at work, being able to do things. Perhaps there's work that you've always wanted to do, and this is your time for a career change. Or perhaps you find yourself landing a job unexpectedly through unexpected means. There's also the chance with all this energy in the home that something around a parent comes into the spotlight. And we could also be looking at the deep foundations of our life. Many people are living in countries that they were not born in. And with Jupiter in Cancer, you might have been having closer connections to this place, and you might be considering spending more time there, if not all of your time. So you could be developing some kind of a dual lifestyle between two places. What else do we need to look at, Pisces? The fact that all the Mercury retrogrades this year, we usually have 3, and this year is no exception. They'll all be in water signs. So the first one will be in your sign, and Mercury is our communication and travel planet. So for you, that's going to happen late February until around March 20th. And that's a good time to consolidate whatever it is you're doing. In other words, not a great time to plan something new, to plan a major trip or a major event. You can, it's not prohibited in any way, but if you want to work with the energies of Mercury and of your sign, it's telling you to catch up, to think about things. And there's also an eclipse season in February, so it seems like this is going to be a time, even though it's your birthday, moving into March, you want to be assessing your situation. There will be an eclipse in your sign again this year, and after that the nodes of the moon are going to switch and your turn is done for the next 18 years or so. How did you fare in last year's eclipse? It would be good to look that up and to journal and think about it. September of 2025. This year you're going to have an eclipse in August in your sign, and that might bring up stuff from 2023, 2024, when the planet Saturn was at those same degrees of Pisces. And for this eclipse for this year, 2026, we're looking at approximately 3 to 7 degrees of Pisces. So if you have a Pisces ascendant in those degrees, you will be most affected by the eclipse. It can bring up things around identity, good things too. Some people marry, after the eclipse, they pop the question and they have a name change, an identity change. For other people, it brings into serious questioning. Who am I? What am I doing here? And of course, this is all good because eclipses are here to wake us up and to help us to access our authenticity. What is really there when the light is blocked and then everything is revealed. If your sun is between 3 and 7 degrees of Pisces, you can take another degree on each side if you wish. You will be having an eclipse to your sun, and that can bring up a lot of stuff that forces you to prioritize what needs to be let go of and what do I need to really focus on now. Sometimes eclipses can be painful to the ego because we're forced to see that we're not coping with something or that we've been taking on too much. At other times, eclipses can reveal something beautiful. We can be seen and we can be honored for who we are. So it all depends on what kind of a state you're in when the eclipse comes around. So February seems like a time to be extra mindful this year, as well as August. We'll also have a Venus retrograde this year, and that's going to be in Scorpio, another water sign. So it's in a good place for you. That's October into November. You might be traveling back to a country, to a place that you visited before, going back on a research project or a degree or an educational endeavor that you dealt with in the past, going back to a religious practice that you've let go of or let slip. Regardless of what you're doing with this retrograde, and please apply it to your own life, it's not a time to push forward once again. It's really a time to reflect, heal past relationships if there's healing to be done, and focus on you and what you need doing. The last planet that we need to mention, of course, is Pluto, and Pluto is firmly now in Aquarius, which is a quiet place for you, helping you to connect more deeply with spirituality, Some of you might find you becoming more interested in politics and government, and that's not unusual with Pluto in this solar place. So however it's activating you, whether it's into a more spiritual way of living or into becoming more interested in the way the world works, this is a long cycle. It's going to continue until 2040, excuse me, 2044, more or less. So just have that as a background hum. And the only time we need to really pay attention to Pluto this year will be when Jupiter moves into Leo and creates an opposition aspect. Jupiter here in Leo, Pluto in Aquarius. And this can bring a tremendous amount of energy. But for you, it's in a quiet place. So how will you use this energy? The best way to use it is to focus on an issue with your health that you've wanted to tackle for a long time, but perhaps haven't had the strength yet. This is your time. You're going to receive energy there. Or you might find yourself doing a lot of work to help other people, volunteer work, or just helping the family for that brief amount of time. And this is good. You're no stranger to that, Pisces. And it's not something that you're sad about, though. I see you having the energy, feeling strong, and being able to step out and activate. What you don't want to do when this energy is active is to lie around and not have enough to do. So if you're not working at this time, or there's a very quiet moment in your life, this is the time to step out and get things done. January starts with a lot of good energy for you, Pisces. Make use of it. The planets are all lined up in your love given, love received axis. So depending on your lifestyle, you could be hanging out with friends, you could be with a group that you really love and respect, you could be with family. There's a beautiful full moon on the 3rd of January. It's in that place of children. So if you have children, hopefully they're your focus now. And otherwise, we could be seeing good creative projects. Some of you are writers. You might be working on that, bringing something to fullness, or simply sitting back and relaxing with a lover or a loved one. And Mars, the action planet, and the Sun are in your place of friendships and groups, hopes, ideals, dreams. So there's action there. There's action to hang out with people. There's action to do things. If you're a loner, as some of you are, and you don't tend to gather in groups or gather with friends, what we could be seeing is that finally things are starting to move with some kind of financial or acknowledgement reward from your job. So money could be coming in, or you could be praised, or you could be getting a promotion or a raise, something in that area, and feel good about it. I see you as in a positive frame, and it's all systems go. Then there's a change of energy. Around the 21st, the Sun slips into Aquarius, Mercury's joining, Pluto's there. It's a quieter place for you. And we're going to have a move of Neptune into Aries around the 26th. So that whole last bit of the month is more about adjusting to new energies. You're looking at the situation, you know that the eclipses are coming up next month, and you're starting to settle in and see what way is 2026 going to go for me. There is a new moon, and that is in Capricorn on the 19th. So that will finish off this energetic period. could be some time to set your intentions in terms of grounding, which is a very good practice for you. Nevertheless, it's already starting to bring about this shift of how am I going to adjust to 2026? That Neptune, even though it's not a personal planet, everyone will feel it, and in particular you Pisces, because you are very sensitive to the other worlds, to transitions, and to the flow. And you've had Neptune in your sign for so long, even though it was in Aries for a bit of 2025. This is the real moment of transition. So set a time for yourself. Do you feel that adjustment? And what is it going to mean to have Neptune in Aries now? So even though February has this quieter feel to it, there's also a lot of beauty, and you might be feeling very good, especially after the 11th, when Venus moves into your sign. That's always a time to feel at our best, at our most attractive, and to honor ourselves in whatever self-care routine we might have. Venus allows that beauty to come forward into our lives, and she'll be there until approximately March 6 or so. The month begins February 1st with a big full moon in Leo, and it's an energized moon. There could be lots of energy for change at this time. You should pay attention to your health. It's in that sector. Something might come to light. It doesn't have to be dramatic, but it does mean that it's a good time to confirm that this month you're going to get back to your exercise routine if you neglected it during the January phase, and put everything on track. The 15th of February is that date, of course, that Saturn is going to move firmly into Aries and join with Neptune there. So you could feel the shift on that day, especially because 2 days after that is the first eclipse of the year. That's in that quiet place for you, Aquarius, and it's a powerful eclipse. Uranus is in the mix. There could be a lot of change, especially on a global level, because we're moving towards that conjunction of those two planets, Saturn and Neptune, on February 20th. So that whole week is a time for all of us to be mindful. The quieter we are inside, the less we consume news, the calmer we stay, the better it is for all people on earth, because we affect the outcome of events. So at that time, simply go about your business, and the energy passes very soon, because a couple of days after the eclipse, the sun moves into your sign. And that's my opportunity to wish you a very happy birthday. Pisces begins around February 19th this year, and this is when your vitality starts to increase, because now you've got the sun going through your solar house, or if you're a Pisces ascendant, the sun is coming to your first house, bringing the light and helping you to move forward. We are, however, experiencing Mercury slowing down, and at the end of the month, Mercury is going to station retrograde in your sign at around 22 degrees of Pisces or so. So that's your time also to take a cue. We spoke about it in the introduction. Not a great time to take on something brand new or initiate a contract, signing for a house, buying a car, etc. Wait until the end of March to do that. What you want to do now is take care of things that come back on your desk. You can contact old friends, sort out a whole lot of paperwork that's backlogged. Just be extra mindful of communication, because often, especially when Mercury is in Pisces and retrograde, things can cross in the ethers, and people can, as a result, be misunderstood, There can be confusing energies. People could get hurt. So we want to be very clear in what we say and how we say it at this time. Eclipses always come in pairs, and March begins with that second eclipse. So around the 3rd of March, we've got a full moon lunar eclipse, and it's going to take place in Virgo, which is your sister sign or your house of partnership. Virgo is opposite Pisces. So what could be eclipsed? Your partner, something to do with your partner could come to light, or perhaps there's something going on in your relationship that needs work. If there are difficulties or challenges, please be patient, don't be rash. Wait until after the eclipse to make any decisions. What's very, very important about this eclipse is that Mars will be moving into your sign on the day of the eclipse, and it's going to be there until the first week in April. So this is bringing energy in, but it means that there's a double energy adjustment for you. So please be mindful of your energy. It's always a time of high energy around a full moon, doubly so with a lunar eclipse. And then for you in particular, whether or not you have planets in Virgo, Mars is moving into your sign. So make that you have some quiet time around this lunar eclipse, and especially the day before is when the energies can be at their height. Other news for March is that Venus will be traveling into Aries and joining up with Saturn and Neptune there. It could be a small blessing, but regardless, apply this to your life and be confident that Venus is coming in there to test that new Saturn-Neptune conjunction. So planets love to be people. Maybe that Venus is a woman who is coming into your life now to act as a resource for you and help you with something. Or perhaps Venus is representing that little bit of joy, that little bit of money, that little bit of something loving that comes in and boosts that house for you. And Venus will be there for a few weeks, so enjoy her blessings. We also have Jupiter, our planet of abundance, stationing direct around the 10th of March. Jupiter has in fact been retrograde since November of 2025. So for you, this might show a really big adjustment around children, creative projects, one of your lovers, if you happen to have one, but also around the house that has Sagittarius on the cusp. So if you are Pisces rising, it's going to affect your house, first house, and the house that has Sagittarius on the cusp. If you are a Pisces sun, you're going to feel this in the houses that have Pisces and Sagittarius on the cusp. It will be different for each one of you, depending on what your ascendant is. So if you have your chart, look that up. Can indicate a forward moving energy now, in particular in the house that has Cancer on the cusp. So take note of that. Could be a time for feasting. It could be a time for enjoying something abundant. And then we're building towards your new moon, Pisces, which is on the 18th of March. And this is going to be a time to set your intentions for the year ahead. Feel good. Don't get caught in the trap, the moon trap. A day or two before that new moon, you could be feeling unmotivated, lacking in vitality, a little bit down. That often happens at the dark moon. And everything will improve once the moon is new and starts to grow in size again. 19th, 20th, it's increasing in light. Your energy should return. The good mood should return. And you know that something is building, something is growing, and you feel better. The interesting thing is that a couple of days after that new moon, Mercury is going to move forward. So there's a shift in energies. And if you have had confusing communication, or one of your projects has been delayed on the back burner, or there've been some confusing issues surrounding something at home or at work, now is the time when they will start to unwind again. So also give Mercury a little bit of time to pick up speed. It does take a while, but it looks as though with the sun's move into Aries, there's a lot of more clarity for you, especially in the financial realm, because in April you've got a great group of planets in that house. People are coming in to help you. You know, the sun is joining Venus there. There's good energy to get that house in order. And remember, with Saturn there, you need to work hard for the next 2 years, because you want to establish something so that when Saturn moves into Taurus, May 2028, perhaps that's when you can buy that property or put money down for something that you've been saving for. Or you can finally start saving after years of just living month to month. Neptune can sometimes feel a little nebulous. The one caveat with Neptune in this house is please keep your financial dealings above board. No tax evasion, no cutting corners in your business, because they can be found out and then you can have deep financial difficulties. So with Neptune, we always want to make sure things are above board, because it has that nebulous effect, and we can use it for its highest vibration, which is altruism and spiritual connectivity. And of course, the planets always test us, and it's never as if we're going from a straight line from A to B, right? We always have to go around in a circle. The planets teach us that there's a cycle to life, but hopefully it's an ascending spiral, and that we learn by our own mistakes. So April's going to bring to light some kind of financial themes, and potentially around your partner or ex-partner's money. Whatever the case may be, please apply it to your own life. So on the very first of the month, there's a full moon in Libra. This highlights money that we have with somebody else. It could be taxation, it could be your partner's money, and something is really activating there, because that full moon is opposing Saturn in your solar second house. So what are you being restricted by, or what do you see that needs greater restriction in terms of your resources? Maybe someone is loaning money from you, and it's time to call that loan in now. And this theme of shared finances, shared resources, maybe you share an apartment or a home with a flatmate, that could be coming into the spotlight. Because around the 7th, 8th, 9th, Mars is going to enter into that house. So it's leaving Pisces, your sign, and it's entering into Aries. Maybe some unexpected expenses for the month. We can't help that. That's why it's good to be prepared. And it also could just be a warning not to spend money on something that you don't really need at this time. Because of all the energy in this house, we need to be saving if at all possible, because it looks as though something is going to be needed from us. And we will have to make those decisions, make that call on who is more important. It's like we're being asked to reevaluate our choices, especially in the financial realm. And there will be an opportunity to reset everything, reset the budget, reset the finances, and hopefully the self-worth is on good track at this moment. and that will be at the new moon around the 17th of the month, give or take a day. Feel that energy of that new moon. Make your commitment again to being independent. Hopefully all of us can have some kind of financial independence, and moving forward to restructure in whatever way you can. The month will end with a very important planetary event, and that is Uranus moving into Gemini. So that's for the whole world. It's heralding in again this massive AI technology shift, and it's unstoppable. So don't try to resist it. Try to educate yourself so that you can work responsibly with it. If you have children, monitor them. We need to be very, very well educated, because this is not going to go back. Uranus is going to be in Gemini for 7 years, and by the time it leaves Gemini in 2033, education and the world is going to look a very different place. For you, what does it mean, Pisces? It means that you're going to have a lot of activity, because Uranus is going to square your sun. You felt that in late 2025, or it's going to square your ascendant. Both of these bring identity shifts, identity change. You can be someone new. You can find greater authenticity. And the last 7 years can feel as if you don't know how you got through them, in a way, because you had so much upheaval on the commuting front, on the neighbors front, on the local getting around, siblings. All those things have been a little bit crazy and chaotic for you. And now you're entering into a phase where you feel as if you have more control, and you want to be proactive with the changes that you make, especially with regards your living space. If you're unhappy where you are, you have to envision a better future. It doesn't mean that the change will take place today, but it's time to get proactive with taking the next steps. So I would like you to see at the end of April, that last week, around the 25th, what's on your mind, what are your dreams, where do you envision living, and can you make that happen over the next 7 years? A lot of the energy that I'm seeing activated for May is to do with either getting out, traveling, going on a trip, or education, working on a project with people from foreign countries, writing contracts, doing a lot of back and forth. But those kinds of things are energized, so please apply them to your own life. This is a wonderful month to take a trip. If you're wondering when is best to travel, it's also a wonderful time to study something new, or sign up for a course, or really commit to expanding your mind. We have no excuse these days, because there is so much free education and so much inexpensive education, especially in alternative methodologies, or whatever the case is, whatever you're interested in, this is activated. May is also unusual because we have 2 full moons. The month begins with a full moon on the 1st of the month, and that is in your house of higher learning, of travel, and so on. It's a full moon in Scorpio, and Pluto is in the mix in the chart of the full moon. So it could be an intense time. Sometimes when the full moon is in a water sign, it can be emotional for you, Pisces. So just take a check. Keep an eye on your emotions. There's nothing wrong with expressing deep emotion. So this full moon giving you an opportunity to possibly study, to travel, and so on. And another caution would be not to get caught up in power struggles with anyone, whether it's your boss, your partner, or your children. Sometimes when the moon and Pluto are hooking up together, can cause a lot of friction on the emotional front. So we would like to be mindful, keep calm, do our yoga practice or whatever we do on a daily basis to keep healthy. And Pisces, this is so important for you. You have times when you tend to just let everything go on the physical front, and you need to stay physical. Jupiter is your planetary ruler. Jupiter tends to expand when it doesn't have the contracting force of Saturn. So you need to develop that discipline for yourself. And the way you do it is to do something that you love, that you look so forward to, even if it's 10 or 15 minutes every day. When you miss that morning stretching, you don't feel good. That's how you do it. You don't do it with the whip or with restricting yourself or going hard on yourself. Jupiter works by creating abundance, and it is very, very important for you to learn abundance in a positive way, because abundance is not too much of a good thing. Too much of a good thing can lead to addiction, or it can lead to difficulties with health or relationship difficulties. So for Pisces, it's particularly important to create healthy and responsible patterns that are based on joy. Do something because you love it. Eat a healthy diet because you educate yourself to love healthy food that makes you feel good. Talking of relationships, Venus will be out of bounds from May 4th for approximately 1 month. So this is nothing major. It simply means that all things to do with Venus, love, beauty, money, can get a boost or can be exaggerated. The positive side is we can feel good, we can give ourselves a makeover. You could have some beautiful items coming into your home. Maybe you're going to buy that new couch you've been looking at, or something new for the bedroom. The negative side is that we could obsess about relationships or be too intense surrounding a relationship, either that's in the home or as we move later into May and June, that's in our house of lovers or children. So we don't want to become too intense on the relationship side. Of course, we have a new moon, and that's on the 18th of the month in that place to do with learning for you, getting around the neighborhood, also your brothers and sisters. And that could be a grounding new moon for you, and simply start again. It doesn't look as if it's too intense. What is important though is around the 22nd, when the sun moves into Gemini. That's going to herald an important 4-week period for you, because now the home is being activated, light is being shone on it. And if you recall, Uranus, planet of change, has just moved in there. So now the sun comes to join up and pass over Uranus. Exciting times. How do you feel? You've got this energy for change, and I'm hoping that it's bringing good changes at work, good changes in the home. Don't allow yourself to get caught up in negativity or fragmentation or nervous tension. You want to make sure that you're getting a good night's sleep, taking your vitamins, all those common sense things. Because sometimes when Uranus and the sun are squaring your sun, a lot of energy around. We're feeling very alert, very wired. So take whatever you need. There are lots of wonderful herbal supplements, or many of you do have breathing or yogic practices that can help to calm you down. This might be a good time for them. And then of course the month ends with that blue moon, that second full moon, and that's in the sign of Sagittarius. So hopefully you can celebrate with a friend, even if it's a quiet celebration, or simply do something that makes you feel good. it's going to be activating something at work as well. Hopefully something that's come to fruition, shining some kind of light on your job. If you're not working, it could bring a job to you, or it could be showing us something to do with your persona out in the world. Maybe you've got those immigration papers finally, or you're planning to make a big status change at work. June begins with a lot of energy in the home, Pisces. The sun is traveling through there for most of the month. And then, of course, it will switch into your house of creativity, leisure, and children around the 22nd when we have the solstice. And that solstice is a very important day for all of us. It's a good time to check its halfway mark throughout the year. Are we in balance, and how can we bring our lives more into balance? The other very important energy for June is that Jupiter, your ruling planet, is barreling through the last degrees of Cancer. And that's in that place that again has to deal with these beautiful things that come through you. Whether you do have children and you're working intensively with them, or whether it's a lover or a creative project you're working on. Sometimes it's children that you teach or children that you work with. They're really in the spotlight now, and we need to finish off things here, because by the 1st of July, Jupiter is going to slip into Leo, and we will be ending a whole year of an emphasis in that sign. Hopefully, if we're artists, we've managed to get a lot done because Jupiter is in this fertile place for us. The new moon is on the 14th of June. It's in the sign of Gemini. And the only thing to say about this new moon is Venus is changing signs on that day. So it's a good day to be extra mindful of how we relate to others, and not to get into arguments or any kind of difficulties in relating, because there's an adjustment going on. With a new moon, always good to set your intentions, and this one will be in the solar place of the home. So good to energize that area which is already so super energized. Then we have that beautiful solstice on the 22nd. And we're building towards the full moon in Capricorn. Now this is a full moon where we need to be extra mindful. We've got Mars changing signs. It's moving into Gemini, your house of the home. But it's all happening around that full moon, the 28th, the 29th, the end of the month. At the same time, Mercury is stationing retrograde, appearing to go backwards in the sky. That's in the sign of Cancer. And all of that activity, especially because Mars is now moving towards Uranus, that planet of change, that planet of lightning, we need to be careful of how we're getting about. We want to take extra time if we're traveling, and we want to take it easy if we're just going about our ordinary business. Don't rush, don't forget yourself. Stay attentive. It can minimize difficulties or challenges. What's very, very interesting is you may be expecting someone to come and visit, to come into your home, or you may be expecting some kind of project to come to fruition, to sign the deal, to connect with a person. But what seems to happen at the end of June is that that doesn't take place. And this has a lot to do with Jupiter moving out of Cancer and Mercury in Cancer moving retrograde. It appears as if they're going to meet, they're going to get together, you're going to get that publishing deal, you're going to make that connection. But then with the Mercury retrograde station, it doesn't happen. Be patient. It's going to happen in middle of August, so you need to just get on with things and don't worry about delays. There's, there are plenty of planetary alignments that appear to be challenging or difficult because they create delays or obstacles to things coming together. When we look back on them later in our lives, we say, thank goodness that didn't happen at that time. It was not meant to be. So there is a wisdom here to these cycles that it is beyond us to fathom. But be grateful and accept what is going on. If there are delays, setbacks, challenges, they appear to be lawful and they're going to unwind later in the year. July seems like a great month to take a vacation if you are able to, Pisces. We've got all this energy in your 5th solar house. So Mercury's retrograde there until the 23rd. The sun is traveling through there. It's a time to kick back. It's a time to take some leisure time if you are able. If you're not, try to build leisure time into your regular schedule. Make a time to walk in the mountains. Make a time to go to the beach. Make a time to do something you love, preferably near water, because this is something that is going to replenish and nourish you. We do have, after the new moon on the 14th, which is in that sign of Cancer, we do have the build-up of the Jupiter-Pluto opposition, which we spoke of in the introduction. That's going to perfect around the 20th of July. So dynamic energy for something that you know needs to be done, needs to get back on track. You need to move forward. And please apply it to your own life. It could refer to something to do with your general health. It could be a good time to take a checkup there. And it could have something to do simply with a spiritual practice that you might be neglecting and you want to get back on track, or an exercise routine or something of that nature. Of course, we have a full moon, and that's going to be at the end of the month. It's going to take place on the 29th in the sign of Aquarius. So that's also a quiet place for you, place of spirit. Also hidden things. Are there any secrets or things that you've buried over the past while which might need to come to light now? You might need to share something with your family that you've been keeping to yourself because you wanted to protect someone, and now it's coming out. One last thing we need to note for July is that around the 26th, a couple of days before the full moon, Saturn, our planet of structure and ambition, is moving retrograde. Now, of course, this is for everyone on the planet, and it does this every year for quite a few months. It will only move direct in December, around December 10th. But simply note, does that affect you? How does it affect you? Does it make your body feel heavy? What's going on in your house of resources? It's important to apply astrology to your own life. If we don't gather data, if we don't have research, how can we know what's going on? So post me a comment. July 26, give or take a day on either side. Are you experiencing that Saturn retrograde? Is something going on in your house of finances? Or are you simply feeling very tired and you feel like you need to take a rest this day? August is a month where you have the final eclipse in your sign, Pisces, that's going to be there until the next 18 years or so, because after that eclipse on August 28th, the nodes are going to move back into Aquarius and remain there all the way until 2043. So the eclipse that you experienced in 2025 and the one now in August are the two eclipses that are sent to awaken, to enliven, and to get you back on track if you are a little bit off course. If you're firmly on track, the eclipse can bring to light things which are helpful. The eclipses, of course, always happen in pairs, and these are our last two for the year. So the new moon solar eclipse will happen on August 12th in the sign of Leo, and then we're going to have the full moon eclipse in Pisces. It's at 4 degrees of Pisces, so take a look at your chart if you have it, and you can see if it's going to affect you very closely or not. And that's going to take place on the 28th of the month. That new moon Leo eclipse is very important for you, Pisces. Just before it happens, Mars is going to move into Cancer, into your place of children, your place of creativity, your place of lovers. And it's activating something there. You will know the theme. This is also a house of speculation. So if you have any gambling issues, please, this is definitely a time not to go gambling. Be very, very mindful, because whatever is happening now has a tendency to come out and to be exposed. The eclipse is also activating the hidden areas of your chart where secrets or previous things that you've tried to hide can again come up. So we really want to take care at this eclipse. It would be good to be home and to be quiet if at all possible around this time. I don't have too much to say about the lunar eclipse on the 28th of the month. It's in your sign. Check out if you have planets close to the degree, and something good will come to fruition. It might be something that needs to come to light, that may have been hidden, may have been a challenge, and now it's out in the open and everyone can talk about it, and somehow that dissipates it and makes it all right. September sees you well supported by the water elements. We've got Venus traveling through the sign of Scorpio. We've got Mars traveling through the sign of Cancer. So even though these planets are in signs where they are less able to produce, this is not a bad thing, because the energies are starting to unwind now for you from the eclipse season. You're feeling well supported, and you're feeling as if you're beginning to understand what everything was all about in terms of this intensive energy we've been seeing in the home, around children, or around somebody that we love. There's been a lot of adjustments here, and you're beginning to really get a sense of that. Then we've got a beautiful new moon in your house of partnership. So something is being reset now in terms of your partner. If you're single, this might be a very good time to step out and find that special person. This house receives the blessing, and it's a good time to start again. It also looks as though finances are receiving attention both for September and October. There'll be a full moon in the house of resources around the 26th of the month. That's going to shine a light there, and I'm hoping that money is coming in for you, or you're beginning to see what's going to be happening during October, because this is when finances will be a little bit more in the spotlight, especially once Venus retrogrades back in Libra. But October begins with Venus retrograding back in Scorpio first, around October 3rd, and that's a time where you might be traveling to a place that you haven't been to for a long time. You're returning home, or an old boyfriend or girlfriend might re-enter into your life, and you can see if that relationship could have a second chance, or you can make your final goodbyes because you realize the energy is not going to work. This is not a great period from October 3rd to November 15th to start a new romance. So be mindful, because often romances that we start under a Venus retrograde don't tend to last long. Regardless of what's going on in your life, maybe you're completely single, you're not interested in romance at all, it's going to be a good thing to slow down in October. So whatever your regular routine is, try not to cloud and crowd your calendar. ease on up. We've got the Venus retrograde, and then on the 24th of the month, Mercury is also going to go retrograde in that same place for you that has to do with travel and so on, studies, learning. So be mindful. Once again, communication needs to be double checked. And because it's Venus and Mercury in Scorpio now, we need to be careful not to say things that are hurtful to people or things that we might regret once the retrograde period is over. The new moon is in Libra on the 10th of October, and that will highlight joint finances if you have any. It's also a good time to assess any business finances or dealings. Make sure everything is above board. The full moon for the month will be on the 26th, so it's just a couple of days after that Mercury retrograde. Things are slowing down. It's a good time to take a break. It's a good time to plan a meal, have a friend over, put your feet up, whatever you like to do to relax, watch a movie. Great time. The full moon is in Taurus, so that's a place for you also which might bring up issues around learning, around your neighborhood, commuting, whatever you do on a daily basis, that can come in the spotlight. But a Taurus full moon, regardless, is a good time to eat well and to relax. And we're building towards the end of the year. November looks like a time where you have to work hard in spite of the holiday season coming in certain parts of the world. I see you putting your head down and getting a lot done at work during this month. We've got energy for going through the daily grind every day. Mars, our action planet, is traveling through that part of your chart, your solar sixth house, which forces you to activate, to stay on track, to keep going. Take care of your health at this time. You don't want to be overworking and getting to bed too late so that your immune system drops. This is that time of year where it's all systems go for you. You're also going to have a new moon in Scorpio on the 9th of the month, which can feel energizing in a way because it's happening in a positive part of your chart. And a couple of days after that, 4 or 5, Mercury and Venus finally move direct, bringing that energy in and allowing things to move forward. You will feel a sincere adjustment after the 23rd or so, once the sun has moved firmly into Sagittarius and you have the full moon in Gemini. That's going to activate the home and work again for you. So maybe there's tensions between the time you're spending at home and the time you have to work. This often happens for you around November, Pisces, because of the way it sets up with your sun or your ascendant. So just try to find the balance. You want to be putting energy into work now. Mars is working for you. The full moon's working for you. The new moon is working for you. It's activating these areas, and a little tension never hurt anybody. So put as much energy as you can into work at this time. It's building towards something and you feel as if you are really on track now. And recall that as we move through December, the sun is going to travel through that house for you that has to do with career, work, your public presence. So there's action there, there's activity needed. Even if you're not working, the sun is squaring your natal sun, or it's squaring your ascendant. Some kind of activity is demanded. Mars has now moved into the place of your partner or partnerships. Could be a permanent partner, it could be a business partner, or it could be that partner that you're looking for. If you're not interested in relationship, it's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens when 2027 gets underway, because Mars is going to retrograde back through this entire part of your chart that has to do with relating and relationships. So let me know how that plays out for you. Very, very interesting dynamic. For those of you that are in partnership, your partner might be in the spotlight. They might be coming back home. They might be having a lot of energy going on with their stuff. Try to support them in whatever way you can. And of course, you've still got Uranus in the 4th, a lot of energy in the home, and we're moving towards a new moon on December 8th. That's in your house of work, so something new is coming to fruition here. You've worked so hard this year. Let's see what is being birthed right at the end of the year. There will be light in the career house. So if you've been looking for a job, this could be a good time that things fall into place. Maybe you've been hoping for a promotion, another good opportunity for that. And of course, we're going to have the sun move into Capricorn around the 22nd, 23rd of the month. And then there'll be that beautiful full moon in Cancer at that same time. And that's going to bring us back to where we started January, with a full moon in a very positive place for you, Pisces. I see you able to relax at the end of December. Capricorn is your house of friendship. It's a place where you feel safe. Your dreams can manifest here. So this is a very good time to do whatever makes you feel good when you relax. Some of you like to relax alone. That's absolutely fine. You're well supported. Cancer is the sign of abundance in terms of the nurturing principle. So nurture yourself in healthy ways. And if you found something helpful in this forecast, please write me a comment. I read each and every one, and I will see you next time.